Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Yvonne Gamble, co-founder of Women Leading Change Now. We're a political advocacy organization in the United States, and we're bringing to you our parallel event for the CSW 65. We are working with goal number 8 in our 17 sustainable goals, and we're working on aligning your financial goals in the pandemic and beyond. Today, I have a treat for you. My guest is going to be Gladys Agwine. She's founder and CEO of Ignite Within, and she has some very interesting attributes, concepts about professional and personal development. So we're going to go get right on over to her and get right into it and bring her on to the set. And Gladys, so nice to have you with us. Thank you so much. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and great to see you again, too.
Great to see you. So can you just tell our audiences, here around the world, what, Ignite Within, who is Gladys? And what I know who Gladys is, they need to know who Gladys is. And what is Ignite Within?
Well, thank you again for having me, Yvonne. I'm so excited to be with all of you out there. And when you talk about around the world, you are speaking my language. So I love being around all different people of diverse cultures because we all learn, we grow, and I think the world is all about love. And so Ignite Within, I work with professional clients who are disengaged in what they're doing, not clear about what they're doing, hate what it is that they're doing, don't know what to do and what they want to do, right? And so I help them to get that clarity of objective, to set an executable plan, an accelerated growth and sustainable plan so that they can achieve the outcomes that they want in their life. Not the outcomes that somebody else wants for them, but the outcomes that they design for themselves to then go out there and get that. And I do that globally. I do that through speaking. I do that through coaching. So I'm a professional, personal professional development coach. I do that, and I am also an author. And my author of a book, Dumped, Not Dumped On, Imposter, and Life Boosts, because I believe it's just so important that we go through, again, it's all about clarity and getting clarity so that you can make the moves that you want to make that's going to get you to your outcomes. So, I come from that corporate background, that corporate executive background, and I worked for a company, the number one technology company, for 30 years or so, and they decided to leave me. I'm like, oh my goodness, who am I now? What am I supposed to do? And I had to go within. And I had to ignite that fire within me to figure it out, to figure out what did I want to do now? What did I want to do next? And hence birthed the name of my company, Ignite Within, and making that transition from corporate. I always wanted to be in my own business. I always wanted to, as my next step, I wanted to ensure that I could manage my time. I could work with who I wanted to work with. I could do it the way that I wanted to do it. And then the only way to do that is to be in my own business. So I've been doing this for about 7 years now. Really living my purpose.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. What, I wanted to just rest right here before we, got into the actual conversation. This title, okay, I looked at this title of your book and I've ordered your book. Yay. And this dumped, not dumped on. What? Okay. I can't see you as being someone who, got dumped or dumped on.
Everybody has experienced being dumped. Who's been rejected? You've been rejected, whether that's a partner relationship, a divorce, or a partner breakup, a client left you. You didn't get a loan you wanted to get, whether that's a business loan or a personal loan to get the house you wanted to get, or you didn't get into the school that you wanted to get into, right? We have all been rejected. We have all been dumped at some point in our career. And when we get that rejection, so often the people that I talk with, so too many people are living with that negative impact of rejection long, long, long after that experience has happened. I've known people who have been let go from companies, and 5 years later, nobody will hire me. I can't get a job. My age, this, that, and the other. And they just go into this downward negative spiral. But I say, just because you have been dumped does not mean that you have to get dumped on. No. I say that there is better to come from that experience of being rejected. But we focus so much on the negative aspect of it because now we don't have that sense of belonging. Am I enough? Am I not capable? Am I not worthy of? And so I call them mind viruses. We get into the mind viruses that start infecting who we are. And we think that it only infects us, but it also infects other people. You've been in conversations and you were just fine and you were upbeat, and then somebody comes in and starts interjecting all that negativity, and it's like, oh no, you kind of start,
Oh yes.
So it infects other people, just like a computer virus, just like the flu, just like the coronavirus. Our mind viruses can do the same thing. It infects us, and it will infect other people, your children. Because you can only rise to the level of your self-esteem. If your self-esteem is here, after you've been dumped and you've been rejected in whatever way, your self-esteem comes here. Well, you can't go any further than that. So you have to understand that rejection is an opportunity. I want you to see it as an opportunity to have better, to have better relationships, to have that better career, to have better clients, to have better experiences, to have lessons to learn, to be able to do better in the future. So again, just because you've been dumped does not mean that you have to get dumped on. And as women, and this is Women's History Month, so often as women, we feel dumped on because everything is piled upon us. Whether that's in the work environment, then we have to go home into an environment and be the caregivers of the home and the children on top of everything else that we're doing. And I say dump because I don't want to make it sound pretty, because it's not pretty. Being dumped, being rejected hurts. It sucks. And that's okay. Experience that. Know that. Acknowledge that.
And then grow from there.
Forgive yourself, because maybe you stayed in a situation longer than you should have, right?
Right.
Maybe you didn't, have yourself financially prepared for a pandemic to come. But you knew, because you had some signals that was telling you, boy, I know I need to stop spending this money on Amazon. I need to put some money, and you didn't do it. And now here we are, and that money would come in handy, right?
You sound like that's that little blinking light on the dashboard.
Exactly.
You kept ignoring.
That's right. Don't ignore the signals, because there are consequences to the signal.
Okay. Well, I get that. That's very powerful. That is very powerful. Dumped but not dumped on. So that's a book, and we'll have that for you on Gladys's speaker page. There's a link to that, so you can actually just click on the link and go right out there and get that for yourself. It's well worth the read. And like she says, get that down into your spirit, experience it, and then move forward. You can only move up as high as your self-esteem.
Expect the best to come. Expect
there you go.
Better is coming.
Yet to come. Wonderful. So I'd like to, turning to this topic and really going a little bit deeper for the women. I would like to know, what is it like in your industry, in the personal professional development industry? What is it like for women working in that particular industry? You say you came from the corporate world. You moved over into your own business because you could, manage your time. And this is, many times this is often heard of entrepreneurs, business owners, who go into their own business because they want to manage their own time. How is that for women? I mean, how accepting are women in this particular industry? What did you find, and what are you finding, and what can we expect in the future?
Yeah, I think that women are accepted in this role, this coaching role, and this speaking role. There is so much value that we have to bring to someone else. Because remember, this is all about helping other people. And I think as women, that's what we do best. That's who we are, helping other people, right? And so I think it's an excellent opportunity for women to get into this business who has value to bring, who has a message, who understands the problems that people are having and have solutions to help solve those problems. Right. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity to get into, because we have, and especially coming in from, if you have a background in corporate or particular industries and all of that, I think it's just wonderful to be able to take those experiences and be able to work with others who need your help to help elevate them within those same environments. So I focus a lot on corporate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I come from that corporate background. I work with business owners from a leadership perspective because that's my background. That's what I give. I know the problems that they experience. I have solutions that I can help solve those problems so that they can get the outcomes that they are looking for. But in this business of personal and professional development, I talk to so many women, and I will tell you that it can be tough out here being in all these other different industries. You talked about the finance industry. I come from a technology background. And in the technology industry, I just remember sitting around the table and it was all men.
Yeah.
And I remember so clearly being in corporate that I felt like I was never let in to that I was never let into that man's club, right? And for me, it was the middle-aged white man. That's what I came up in, right? And they would never let me in. It didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter how good I was. It didn't matter. They would not let me in. I could only go so far. And I found myself having to understand that that's where they were, but not accept it, right?
Right.
So when you find yourself in a position where, as women, it's tough to get in, to be noticed, to not be invisible, to be accepted, to be recognized as a woman in whatever industry that you're in, you don't have to tolerate that, right? You can, number one, know who you are. Be confident in who you are. But so often we say, well, I'm not enough. I must not be worthy to have, right? I must not be capable because they're not letting me in. When it really has nothing to do with you, if you are working your best and doing your best. Right? And so we have to stop telling ourselves that, because we minimize ourselves. They want to minimize us, and then we just go right along with it and continue minimizing ourselves. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Know who you are. And I say that if you can't get it where you are, why are you still there?
Go where you're celebrated and not where you're tolerated.
Because there are places within the industry that you're in that will accept you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not places, it's not industries, it's individuals. You want to attract those individuals that will allow you in, but you have to carry yourself, in that way. And you have to ask for what it is that you want. And you have to say what is not right. Now, there's an artful way to do that, right? It
Mm-hmm.
can't be mean and, it can't be all of that. There's an artful way to approach getting what it is that you deserve. You deserve it. You deserve to be respected. You deserve to be well treated. You deserve to get that money. You deserve to get that promotion. You deserve to get that client. You deserve to get that big business. But you have to act like that.
Mm-hmm.
To know that, right?
So basically what you're saying and what you're telling us is that you have to walk and be that even before you get that. You don't wait until you get it to become. You have to walk in it before it comes. And so therefore by the time it comes, you are already that which you had desired to be.
And that we don't have to be perfect. So men
Right.
aren't perfect when they go after something. But we
That's
think we
true.
have to be perfect. I remember getting into my business. I told my coach, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to launch my business. I wanted to dot another I, cross another T, and then dot the T and cross the I. And and she said, "You're ready." And I had done everything I was supposed to do. And I said, "You're right." And I said, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want." And I pressed that button, and I'm telling you, I wouldn't be here with you today if I had listened to that mind virus telling me that I'm not capable, I'm not ready, I'm not enough, right? Because I was. Be careful what you're telling yourself.
So then so basically the ease of access in your personal and professional in this development industry, it should be very easy because that industry, the way I see it, as those professional coaches, they are helping others. So they have more than likely have overcome a great deal to even get to where they are. And now they're turning around as that coach and bringing others out. How is that? I've always wondered about just the life of a coach. How do you care for, I know this is kind of maybe going a little bit off topic, but I'd like to know, and I'd like to understand, how do you care for the coach so that coach can always exemplify the others?
I think that as a coach, as a leader, I think you have to really work on yourself. I've done a lot of work on myself. I've understood what my mind viruses are. Worthiness was mine, right? So I've worked with myself. I know who I am. I love being who I am. I love myself, and I'm unapologetic about it. And so I have worked on myself. So I don't feel comfortable trying to help you, and I can't help myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I practice what I preach. How I coach and the methodologies that I use them on myself. And it was successful for me. And then I used them with other people, and it was successful for them. And so that's how that comes about. And plus, I'm living my purpose. So I took the time to figure out, what did I want? Why do I want that? And what am I willing to sacrifice? And I take clients through a process where it's not about a job, it's not about an industry, not about a function, but it's a blank sheet of paper where you are just saying, what are my talents and my gifts? And it's amazing how you ask someone, well, what are you good at? What are your talents? What are your skills? They're very quick but I can't do this or I don't like that. And it's like, well, what do you like? This is about what you do like. This is about what
Mm-hmm.
you do want. And it's difficult for people to do that. So a blank sheet of paper, for what purpose do you want to use your talents and gifts? How does that align to your values? Who do you want to impact? And what do you personally want to get out of living your purpose? And so I take a different approach. I don't approach from a job or from a position. I approach it from what do you want?
Okay.
And
Okay.
understanding that. And then you align what you're currently doing with that. Am I getting that in what I'm doing today? Can I get it? How can I bring more of that in? I can't get it. Well, where can I get it? How can I, work to make this transition out to go out what it is I now know and clear about? This is what I want to do.
Okay. I like that. I like that. So yeah, that basically you're giving yourself that access
Hmm.
to where you want to go and where you want to be. So it
Exactly.
wouldn't be fair if we didn't talk about the pandemic. The pandemic, it came and it made itself known. This little microorganism, and I mean it was worse than a grain of sand in your shoe, and I'm pretty sure you've had that. And it's here, and it's not. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere, and it has changed our industry.
Yeah.
How has that impacted the ability of growth in the personal and professional development area? Are you seeing people coming more to you, or are they tending to shy away? What do you see, in the coming this year and then in the coming years?
I think that the pandemic has been really great for my business. I think the pandemic has not, I think, the pandemic has touched probably every human being on this planet.
Mhm.
And I'm a problem solver. And so this pandemic brought problems to people. It magnified existing problems for people. And so I'm a problem solver. I'm a solutions oriented person. And so for me, it's prime for me to be able to help you solve the problem
Okay.
that you find yourself in so that you can have a better life, a better career, a better business. So it has been wonderful for me, but also what I teach and what I tell people is yes, the pandemic came, but I will tell you that after the pandemic, there is going to be um my printer was coming on, my apologies. After the pandemic, that what's going to happen is there's going to be some other situation that's going to come. And then before the pandemic, there was something else, a problem that was there, right? So I just tell you that change is constant. Change is inevitable. And with change comes those signals that we talked about, those internal signals,
Mm.
right? Those internal signals that we get of frustration and sadness and anger, even joy and happiness. Joy and happiness, you want to bring more of that in. But that angst and that anxiety, you want to say, oh, where is that coming from? Don't ignore it. We run 200 miles an hour with these fleeting thoughts about it. But I want you to sit with yourself long enough to understand, why am I so frustrated and angry? So that you can then do something about that. But we have to model our lives knowing that change can tap us on the shoulder at any given moment in time. And you have to be adept at being able to handle that. You can't be frigid with it because you will break. And I don't want you to break. So, how can you be flexible enough to know that change is going to come? I don't know when, right? Because we can't control that. What can we control? Ourselves. I can control how I handle things that come my way. I'm going to be ready for it. And if I don't have everything ready, I'm going to be mentally ready to handle it. Because remember, dumped, not dumped on,
Okay.
right? So
Right.
for me, the end of this pandemic has really helped me. My business, because it's global, was going virtual anyway. And so this just aligned with what I'm doing. I see people are more inclined to do virtual. And I think that that's something that's going to stay. Again, my positioning was with corporate, and a lot of corporate clients were able to still maintain, their positions and, things like that within
Mhm.
those environments. So again, it's about how do you adjust. You don't have to completely change everything. How do you adjust based on the circumstances? I was on a panel with someone who's a PR person, and when this whole pandemic hit, she says, "Well, my client lost, 4 clients, right?" But she said she made a little pivot and started working with clients who needed some coaching, and she wasn't doing that at the time. So she just made a little pivot that's going to keep money in her pocket for the time being until everything opens up again. So we just all have to keep an awareness like this, not like this, but keep awareness like this. So we know how we need to make the adjustments in order to keep moving forward whenever that change comes into us, right? And
Right.
always keeping the mindset, good, and focusing on, our patterns. So we have patterns, right? And so
Mhm.
focusing on, what is your pattern? Do you focus on what you're missing? Focus on what you have? Do you focus on the past? You focus on the present? Focus on the future? Do you focus on what you can't control? I can't control. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Or do you focus on what you can control?
Hmm. Okay. Well, that makes sense, and I think in order to really make a difference, you focus on what you can control,
You focus
and
on what
then
you
the
can control.
rest will fall into place, or it will fall off, and it will go away.
Exactly.
And
And you can only control you. So
yes, yes. And that kind of segues us into very nicely into how does women's equality fit into your industry. And we were talking, just before we came on air, we were talking about something I wanted you to go back to, and I kind of wanted to start there. And you were talking about how many years it would be before women could expect, and you kind of gave me some statistics, from different countries or different standpoints as far as how many years, and I got a little bit overwhelmed.
142 years for there to be women's equality in Africa. 200 plus years for equality for women to happen globally. And I'm like, well, who the heck can wait that long? And they've been working on this for how long? To bring us
Okay,
to
so
have
we don't get anything for
equal.
time served. Usually even the worst of criminals or the worst of things, they'll say, okay, fine, you've already been in this for 100 and some years, so now it's only going to be 20 years because you've been in it,
Right.
since the dawn of time.
Since the dawn of
My
time.
question
My
is,
granddaughter is 6, and I
see,
have a
we won't see
granddaughter
it in
who's
our life.
2. She can't wait.
That's 20 generations.
She can't wait now. I'm not willing to wait on that to happen. That means I'm waiting on other people to say to let me in, like I talked about in corporate. I'm not gonna wait on you to let me
What this is what I don't understand. With this, I've seen the numbers, I've heard the numbers, and I guess I don't pay much attention to it, but I'm just trying to figure out where are we going if we say, okay, it's 200 some years, 140 years for equality, and worldwide, over 200 years for equality. Where are we going? What's going to be so different in 200 years from now that we don't have right here today?
in. I think that more women will be in leadership positions. More women will be sitting at the table in the future. Because we're not sitting at the table, there are men making all of these decisions. I think they had shown a picture of um, when they were looking at making healthcare decisions here in the United States.
Yes.
Everybody in the room were men.
We're men.
There were no
Old
women
men.
represented in the room. So are they
Hmm.
going to talk about women's health issues in that room? No, they're not. So just like as African Americans, we need to be at the table because they don't know our interests. So it is
Right.
very important that we are sitting at the table. And I say, if we can't sit at your table, then I'm going to create my table and I'm going to invite other people to my table. See, what
Exactly.
can we do to
And
work
yeah.
it out?
Yeah, and
Right.
that's why I wanted to talk about this issue with you, Gladys, specifically, was because I know you're a woman like-minded, like I am, and you're one of those women leading change now, and that is that we create our own table. We don't, this whole, because what happens is if you have all these people who are sitting outside, be it
Mm-hmm.
women, be it men, be, LBTQ, all these different disenfranchised groups, they're all sitting outside of the quote proverbial tables on in the towers. And so therefore, like you said, you create your table and you invite other people. And truly, when you look around, that's everybody. And the
Yeah.
very few, because you only have what 10% of the population is controlling 90% of the people. So if you got
Right.
90% of the people sitting at your table, I really don't. That 10% can't really do much.
That's what
They
I
have
say.
their power. Their power is really has been taken away. It's been eliminated because now they won't have that 90% to control.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that goes back to what you had said earlier when you were saying about how you're taking control of yourself and your esteem. And as long as you allow your esteem, to be dumped on or to be pressed down and to stay down, that's how long it's going to be. So basically, I can only assess that they're coming up with this numeration based on the fact of how many years they figure they can keep people up under their thumb and keep people down.
Yeah. I think that
I'm
we just,
sorry
and
to
I
say
think
that.
women are stepping up now. The Me Too movement, hashtag Me Too movement. I
Mm-hmm.
think women have come to women more in politics. We're starting to get more CEO boardrooms, executive committees, and things like that, but it's still not enough, right?
But
More men are still making the dominating, the critical decisions that impact our lives and the lives of girls. And so, I'm a business owner. And so, what can I do myself, not waiting on anybody else, but what can I do? So, I mentor young girls in college and high school. I mentor girls in Africa. I decided to get a virtual assistant from Africa so that I could work with her. And I'm looking to groom and grow her business. What can I personally do? When I was in corporate, I made sure that I brought other women into leadership positions. So, what can I do? I'm not going to wait. And I had to speak up about it. And I had to challenge sometimes and not just be quiet and just say, okay, but to challenge. Why can't we do this? You do
mm-hmm.
this for this person, this person, and this person who happen to be male. Why can't we do this when she's qualified?
Right.
Why can't you do that for me because I'm qualified? See, I had to speak up like that in an artful way, but very serious way,
Mm-hmm.
to not wait 100 years before you let me in. And I say that as women, we have to stop being our own worst enemies and not and
Mm-hmm.
believing that we're not enough to start. I have a client who was talking about she wanted to, there was an opportunity for her to be at a higher level leadership position. And she says, oh, but I'm not ready and I need to get more development before I do this. And really, I'm like, you can do that. You can learn. You don't have to know everything that there is to know before you take, a position. So we're our own worst enemy when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
our growth. Are you taking risks? Are we out there networking? Are you speaking up on behalf of yourself and other people? What are we doing? What are we doing as women? And I say, a lot of this equality, I might get in trouble, so don't y'all, I don't want to get in trouble, y'all, but I think a lot of that equality, women's equality starts in the home.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
just saying,
you're absolutely right. It does
how are
because
you
if you
being
don't,
treated by your husband? How are you treated by your
mm-hmm,
father? What does your father believe about that? What does your mother believe about
believe
that?
about that. Yep,
Right? What does your mother believe about
exactly.
that? I know
And
when I lived
that's
in,
exactly, you're exactly right there. It does.
yeah,
All these things begin here because you can't walk outside and try to be strong out there and then come back in the house and have to be weak. That's
right.
not going to work. You got to be weak on both sides of the. You can't walk on the rail of the fence. Nobody can.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
therefore you've got to, it has to be on both sides. And if you are going to take it in the house, then you're gonna, there's more chance that you're going to take it outside.
That's
And
right.
so therefore you've got to be able to rise up against that, so that in no way, no way, shape, form, or fashion are you just accepting, that type of behavior, in your whole sphere, in the sphere of influence that influences your life, that you say, this is me and this is where I hail from and this is what I expect. Then that's how you have to live, and you have to
Right.
be, going forward, because if not, you're not authentic. You're not working and operating in an authentic self. I
Yeah.
cannot,
One of,
you know, be out front and, pull up the sign and say, women's equality, and then I go home and I accept something less than that.
exactly. Exactly. We have to, like I said, I want us to get out of our own way. I want
Yes.
us to stop, you know, saying what we can't do. I want, as women, when we get into positions, that we help reach back and pull other people forward. I want us to stop the gossipy stuff like that. That's can be crabs in the barrel sometimes when you're trying to get ahead and somebody said, "Oh, I can't believe she got that." I remember I got into leadership position, and they said, "Well, how did you get that?" I mean, God's favor.
God's favor. Favor ain't fair sometimes.
So we can be our own worst enemy is
The
my
enemy.
point.
Mhm.
And I want to say also that we need to do more critical thinking and stop. So that's what a coach does not tell people what to do. We help you get to the conclusion and the realization yourself by asking questions and being interested in you and helping you think a little bit deeper about what it is that you want, what it is that you need, and where are you. And we need to do more of that as women. When we say fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, back straight smiling, I'm fine, and you're not, you're broken. And so digging a little bit deeper into asking questions, not telling people what to do. Go on, quit that. Don't tell people that. What is it you want?
Hmm.
What
Yeah,
do you
because you've
want
got
to
to have
do?
a landing
Why
place.
do you feel that you need to still be there if you're
Mm.
unhappy in that relationship or within that job or within that business or client or whatever? Right. Again, my mission is to help women get to know who you are, to be who you are, to love who you are, and be unapologetic about it. Because once when we get to that point, that 100 year, 200 year, all that down the road, we will get creative and how can we come out to help ourselves to then be able to help others who can then go out and help other people. That's what
Hmm.
this is about.
You're absolutely right. And things are ramping up much faster and much more, exponentially. And especially now, with the pandemic and just with the digital age that we live in, it has truly brought everything front and center. And we're only as far away, as 10-digit dialing, or, right on the computer with live streaming, we can be across the world. So no longer can things be done in the dark that can't be seen immediately in the light.
And
What I'd
just the
like for
opportunity is much bigger now because you can look at things from a global perspective, right?
right. Well, what can you any parting words or any parting thoughts or ideas, Gladys, that you'd like to share, with our audience, to encourage them in this particular, the professional and the personal development? It sounds like that's something that people should do, whether going into business, just as individuals, develop yourself.
Yeah. I just want you to know that you are enough just as you are. Mm. Just let that
Okay.
sink in for a minute. That you are enough just as you are. You don't have to break your back trying to prove to other people that fact. When you know that, when you are clear about that, when you are confident in that, you will attract resources to you to help you to turn that vision into reality, to turn that obstacle into an innovation, to turn your values into action, to turn your risks into rewards. You will be that. And I want you to expect it. Be expectant of change that is good for you. Expect it. Expect the best because you deserve the best. That's it.
That's it.
Know it in your
Contact.
spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Second skin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's powerful. That is powerful. I want all of you to contact Gladys Agwai at www.ignitewithin.org. I guarantee you are going to be so happy and so pleased that you did. I want to thank you, Gladys, for coming on and being a guest with us, and for giving us this talk and just really elevating our minds, elevating our spirits, and really, just reaching into our homes, into wherever we might be across the world, locally. And ladies, please get her book. Get her book. If you don't do anything else, please get this book and read it. Dumped, but not dumped on. Thank you. I was going to ask you to hold that up because that is just such a beautiful book. It's such a beautiful writing that she has there. And you definitely want to make certain that you get that and add that to your Goodreads. Thank you so much again, Gladys, for coming on and for talking with us today on our UNCS 65. We appreciate it here in 2021. And this is not going to be the Women Leading Change Now. We're going to be hosting other events throughout the year. So we look forward to bringing you back on as a guest.
I love it. Thank you. Like I said, I'm living my purpose. So however I can help, however I can support. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All righty. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.